Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, boy, I tell you, we're getting better and better at this right here. Let me tell you why, colleagues, I'm opposed to Amendment 1A, authored by the senator from the 19th. Who is my friend? I'm going to tell you why. Because this amendment is anti-freedom. This amendment will allow the legislature and the General Assembly from this point moving forward to decide what we want the state health benefit plan to pay for and what we don't want it to pay for. So if next week you decide you don't want to fund asthma, you'll take it out. If you don't like sickle cell treatments, next week you'll take it out. If you don't like taking care of folks that have cancer, you could just take it out. The General Assembly now has the power, by voting on this amendment, to decide what people can do with their health insurance. Now, I have heard many of you talk about the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare. You can keep your doctor, and y'all have railed against that. What's the difference between that and this? If the legislature can decide what you can get treatment on, how you can then be treated, then there is nothing stopping us from making that determination of what you can cover and what you won't cover. Well, I think it's a slippery slope, colleagues, that we will intervene in what a person's health insurance can cover. That's negotiated in network, out of network, all that stuff. Listen, you may have an issue with people who are transgender, got it, understand. But I always remember, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's the golden rule. And I don't want anybody telling me that my health insurance can't treat asthma. You may not want your health insurance to tell you it can't treat geriatrics. You may not want any of that stuff, but guess what? If you vote on this amendment, what's to stop a bill next month or when we're coming back in the next legislative session? What happens when the balance of power changes? Where the majority is now the minority and the minority is now the majority. What do you do then? Will you come make the same argument that I'm making today? That if you're focused on this issue and you say state funds, well, guess what? We're state employees. We're on the state health benefit plan, so you get to decide what type of treatment I get. I didn't know that you all had medical licenses. I didn't know that you were MDs. I didn't know that you were my primary care physician. And you may say, Senator, but that's not what this bill is about. It's a very specific issue. Oh, no, it's always about a bigger picture. And for folks to talk about big government, well, this is making government a hell of a lot bigger, because if you want a small government, you let folks make the choice as to what they were going to have offered in their health insurance, but now you want to come and bring big government to tell you what your insurance can have. And it's only if you receive state money. So if you're on a state health benefit plan, if you're a state employee, talk about folks that work for the state for 25, 30 years and retired are still on the state insurance. They've worked for this state for 25 and 30 years, and maybe they're at a point in life where they're making a different determination, and you want to walk back on the contract. Well, those folks have retired and say, well, now, we feel a little different about this. That's not a good way to do business, and I would leave you with this. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's the golden rule. And I wouldn't want anybody making changes to my health insurance because you may not like the condition I suffer with today, and that's a slippery slope, because it might be trans folks today, but it could be somebody else tomorrow. And with that, Mr. President, I yield the well.